You're welcome, sir. My name is Popola Ebenezer, and you're welcome to FCS TV. We are glad to have you here today, and we would like to know more about you, sir.
Yeah, my name is Solomon Ekiyor. I'm an engineer by profession with a master's degree in project management, and I'm also called to be a preacher, and by God's grace, ministering to my generation.
Oh, wonderful. You're welcome.
I'm married. I have 3 blessed children.
Wow.
They are great. Yeah.
Wow. We thank God. We thank God. Now, sir, looking at what is going on in our world today, and looking at from the perspective of a preacher, which means you have souls that God has given to you, I believe what we are discussing today will be of utmost importance. I would like to know what are your views concerning crisis in the days of the Bible. First of all, before you go into that, I would like to introduce the topic, and the topic is managing personal economy in times of crisis. We all know that right now, COVID-19 here and there has taken the economy and is dragging it down. But here we are with church members. We have people all around the world that needs to know how to manage their resources. So I'd like you to first of all help us to tell us if there are some aspects in the Bible where things like this has ever happened before, sir.
Okay, thank you. Looking at the topic, you said managing wisdom
for managing personal economy
in crisis. Okay, let's start with the word economy.
Okay.
In this context, economy is one's ability to maximize resources.
Okay.
Yes, one's ability to maximize resources for optimum benefit. So we're talking about personal economy. It has to do, that means that you are personalizing
myself,
it. Yes,
like
to
what I
yourself.
need to do, like
Yes.
the wisdom I need to get
Yes.
personally. Okay.
Because
okay.
we are not talking about the government now. We're talking about your personal government.
Okay.
So, if we look at what is happening, it's not new. This is not the first time such thing is happening from the
Including
Bible.
the lockdown,
Yes.
where the entire world is on lockdown.
Yes.
We would like you to enlighten us on that.
Okay. There was a particular time, I think in Second Kings. Let me see. Let me show us. Let me show us a situation that we had something similar. Yeah, something. Okay, in Second Kings chapter 6.
Okay.
Verse 24, the Bible says, and it happened after that Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, gathered all his army and went up and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and indeed they besieged it until a donkey's head was sold for 80 shekels of silver. At this point, you know, what's happening to us is a siege.
Okay.
We are under a siege.
Okay.
Because at this point in time, in Samaria, nobody goes out. Nobody comes in. It was a lockdown. Yes.
So in the days of the Bible, Ben-Hadad was the coronavirus.
Yes, Ben-Hadad was the king of Syria. He invaded
so in
Samaria.
this time now, the coronavirus is the one sieging us. Oh,
exactly.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So at this point in time, because of the lockdown, there was no imports, there was no exports.
Okay.
Nothing coming in, no goods coming in, no goods going out.
So production chain is being disrupted.
Production chain was completely paralyzed. So to the point where they had no food to eat. And we have not come to that, and we won't get to that. Because women started, since there was no food to eat, they opted to eat their children. So things that have happened in the past are even like worse than what we are experiencing now. Yes, scripturally. So it happened in the days of Elisha in Samaria. It happened that if you look at Abraham in Genesis chapter 12, God promised him the promised land, took him to the promised land. And the Bible says when he got to the promised land, there was famine. There was famine.
And we've not gotten to the...
No, we've not got to famine. We've not. We are. This is just the beginning of
something at hand. Yes. Hence the topic, the wisdom to manage personal economy.
Yeah. Because if you look at the Bible, you understand that for every pestilence precedes famine. Famine is economics.
Okay, can you give us something in the world we are today, in line with what you just said now, like any crisis that has happened in our world today, like in this present?
Okay, for example, after World War I, about a decade or some years beyond a decade, there was economic crisis that today the world call it Great Depression. It started with a crumble in the economic life of the people in US. The Great Depression was started in the US. But from there it spread across the globe. So because of that, there was serious hardship. There was serious famine. People lost their jobs. Businesses closed down.
Like what is going on now? We are not there yet.
We are not yet there.
Yes. Closed, especially in Africa.
Not only in Africa. For example, now, what the US, the UK, what they are trying to do, because presently now, the Prime Minister of the UK, they are trying to, because if you look at the UK economy, there are businesses that are proprietary.
All right.
People own businesses.
Entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs. Yeah. And they have 1, 2, or 3 persons they employ.
Yes.
So now, the government of UK decided that they are going to give money to workers, government workers, to sustain them within this period. So now the entrepreneurs now came. They said, what about
what happened to their own?
So by the time they looked at it, they discovered that about 40% employment is through these small entrepreneurs.
Small scale business owners.
Yes. Wow. So right now they are also pumping out money to sustain those businesses. Okay, let's look at World War II.
Okay.
Immediately after World War II, the economy of nations crumbled. Even the nations that were not directly involved in World War II crumbled.
Especially the consumer nations.
Yes.
Because if a nation that is the producer is being affected at the very high level, the consumers
they are finished.
They are finished.
So we have seen this happen. Okay, look at 2007, 2008. The whole world experienced recession.
Yes.
It started from the US.
Yes.
And from the US, it spread across the whole world, even to Africa. And the world could not even recover from that recession from that 2008 until around 2014. So now what we are entering now, this is not, we are doing economic analysis now.
Yes.
We're not going to the faith dimension.
Yes.
We're doing economic analysis.
Yes.
If we go by economic analysis, we are not yet into recession.
Okay.
The crisis just started 3 months ago. That's why this topic is very important. Because look at the days of Joseph. Pharaoh had a revelation. Joseph interpreted it.
Yes.
There's going to be 7 years of plenty, and there's going to be 7 years of famine. Now look at it. Let me tell you something. 2007, we experienced the economic meltdown. And the world did not really recover so much from it until around 2014.
That's 7 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, from 2015, in fact, towards the end of 2014, the economy started booming.
Mm-hmm.
The economy started booming, and it has taken us till this 2020. It's like when the graph goes up like this,
Mm-hmm.
it comes down.
It comes on like a parabola. It
Yes.
goes
So right now, it is coming down.
Again.
It's coming down.
Mm.
And it's possible that if it's not well managed, we are going to experience a long period of economic difficulty.
Sir, like from what you just said now, I think it's now obvious that the people that really suffer from this are students that study abroad. Especially where we know that the African setting, yeah, we have good universities in Africa, but some students still decide to study abroad. So now, how can we give a wisdom, or what are the wisdom that we can give, or what are the methods, or what are the ways, strategies, yes, that we can give to these people, especially the students, and also our fellow believers spread across the world?
Okay, now let's look at Africa using Nigeria as a case study. The economy of Nigeria rests on crude oil.
Mm.
The budget of Nigeria for 2020 was made, enacted, passed into law on the crude oil $56 per barrel.
Okay.
Now, with this crisis, crude oil has dropped to $20.
So we are in deficit of 26 now.
In fact, we are above 50% deficit.
Oh, God.
And the year is just starting. We are just still in the first quarter of the year, right?
Mm.
Okay. Or we'll just enter the second quarter of the year, or first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, if you look at it carefully, the budget is already on the deficit. And it's so many persons, the parents of so many of our students, they are either government workers,
or entrepreneurs.
they are entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
they are contractors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They work with maybe oil company or whatever. Even the oil companies will be affected. So there's the possibility of people being dropped, especially in non-government organizations.
Unemployment will automatically increase.
Already we have the very high rate of unemployment in Nigeria, for example.
And if that happens, there will be more people depending on some people. So we have a lot of parasitic relationship now, because if your parents send you abroad and you thought maybe you are the only one that they are sponsoring,
the point of sustaining themselves.
Okay,
Yes.
like the
Yes.
students
The
abroad.
students that are studying abroad.
Okay.
Now let me come to that point. Right now, the dollar to naira has increased, exchange rate has increased
Yes.
to 100,
Above 400.
400,
Yeah.
about, let me say
per-
400
about
naira to a dollar,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Now, we are still at the beginning of the crisis.
That's something to think about.
We are still at the beginning.
Yes.
So if at the beginning of the crisis, we have exchange rate of $1 to 400 naira. As the crisis continues, there's the tendency that it will still increase. And remember that September is just close by. A new session is going to start.
Yes.
You have paid your fees for this session. This session will end around May, June. Thereabout. Then, By September, you are expected to pay for your school fees.
Yeah, and the school authority don't care.
And the school, they don't care.
They
You
don't
just
care.
need to pay. After 2 weeks of resumption, they expect you to pay. Okay, you don't know at September how much will the exchange rate be. And by September, we must have moved to another phase of the crisis. We don't know how long this lockdown is going to last.
Yes.
But immediately after the lockdown is lifted, that's when we are going to enter what is called recession. That's the whole world.
The whole world. Okay.
Will enter into recession. And from what we are seeing, because every country now is going into their reserves in order to sustain their people. America went into their national reserve to withdraw $3 trillion.
Yes, sir.
Nigeria too, they are going into their reserve. The Nigerian reserve is even before now it was depleted. Or not? Okay, we are talking about countries like Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe was already in serious economic crisis before now. South Africa, a few weeks back, even before the heat of this crisis, entered into recession. So, and you know, South Africa was like the number one economy in Africa before now.
Yeah.
They've gone into recession. Not to think about other countries like Togo, Ghana, and Cameroon, Gabon, Malawi, and all these places. So there's a problem. So now what we need to do, the days of Joseph, Joseph was brought in to manage the economy of the nation. But before the economy of the nation, it's necessary because it is people that make up the nation.
Yes.
So there must first be personal economic management that will now lead to a national economic management.
That's true, sir.
So now, my advice for us, foreign students, African foreign students in Europe, in the US, in Australia, and other part of the world, I want to plead with you. It is very necessary for you to do what is called structural adjustments.
Number one is structural adjustments. Okay.
Now, whatever you are, there are some things that are not necessary at this point in time. There are some spendings that will be foolish for you to do now. Whatever you have now, be prudent in spending. Reduce your budget.
Okay.
The things you used to spend right now, you don't need. For example, now, let me tell you this. Immediately this lockdown is lifted, the first thing that is going to happen, a lot of shops and companies are going to offer sales.
Yeah.
Because there are goods that will expire. They have to empty they have to empty their products in order to get new ones. So they will do everything. They will lure people to come buy. But as they do that, they are doing that to sustain their own economy. They will deplete your pockets, collect from you. And for you, you don't know what tomorrow has for you. You don't know what tomorrow has for your parents. So if you now, you already have phone. You now hear that right now iPhone 8 is $600. So the $600 that you will keep for yourself and use to pay for your fees, you now use it. I want to change my phone. You go for iPhone. This is the point. This is the time where you have to use your creative sense.
Okay.
For example, I was telling myself, since this lockdown, I've not been able to cut my hair. I've not been able to shave. Right? One of the things I've told myself is this. that for this, I will learn how to shave myself.
So this crisis going on should bring about inherent creative ability within you, even as a man and as a woman. Can you stretch more on that a little bit, sir?
My children, they've not been able to cut their hair. My 2 boys, they've not been able to cut their hair. So now that the salon, they are locked up, I should be able to use my own clipper and cut their hair.
And that will prevent some unnecessary spending even
Exactly,
in the future.
Now, for some of us in Europe, where you spend money so much in eating out,
okay,
your breakfast is out, your lunch is out, your dinner is out. Now, because of the lockdown, so many of those restaurants, they are not working. While some are working, but
home delivery,
home
delivery
delivery.
to your house. Yes.
This is the point where you need to now cook rich food for yourself. Instead of you to now use your sense to do that, you are now still going to order, and they bring home delivery. You pay more,
and you are financing their own
you
economy.
are financing their economy. And you are still depending on your parents. Oh, see, listen to me carefully. It's not, it's not a negative wish, but we don't know what tomorrow holds, even for your parents. You don't know what next month holds, even for your parents. What you have now, save it. Let me show you a scripture.
Okay, sir.
Let me show you a scripture in 1 Timothy chapter 6. 1 Timothy chapter 6. Let's look at verse 7 and 8. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Read it for us.
Okay. It says, but godliness with
No,
contentment.
that's 7 and 8.
7 and 8.
Yes.
He said, for we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out.
Yes.
And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content.
This period now, he said, having food and clothing. Be contented.
That's the next point now. So contentment is one thing that people need to work on.
You don't need new clothes. The ones you even have, you've not finished wearing them. So by the time the lockdown is lifted and the Euro shop or any of these big
shops,
boutiques and they say, there's sales, then you now go. Now in the sales, from the price, you don't even know. See, one of these things that you don't know that these people do is that if the normal price is $50, okay, let me say the normal price is $40. They will now put on that their tag. They will now say they are doing 50% slash. Then on the tag, they will put $80 slash, cancel it
to 40, which is the
then they will
original
now
price.
write. It's still the original price.
It's just deception.
So you will now take your money and you go and buy it. This money should be kept. You don't need a new shoe now. You don't need new clothes now.
Contentment.
Be contented with what you have. Help your parents. I'm begging you. Help them. There are so many with this situation. There are so many persons that they are shouldering their responsibilities. There are people from your village, your nephews, your cousins, your nieces, your aunties, uncles that are calling them that they need to send them.
Responsibility load will increase
so
for them
now. So I am begging you. The most important thing is for you, one, to keep yourself alive.
Okay.
By God's grace.
By God's grace.
leave yourself healthy.
Good. That's actually, I have something to say about that. That's
Okay.
actually important, because at this point now, if you end up contacting anything, it can take a lot of money out of your pocket as well. So keeping healthy, keeping yourself good, clean, and safe from this virus or any other disease out there will save you from spending unnecessary on your health. I think it's actually very good. It's something that people should really look into. Health.
Keep
Yes.
yourself healthy.
Yes.
Keep yourself warm.
Mm.
The clothes you have, wear them.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's hopefully in faith look unto
God.
on how He will take us out of this crisis.
Wow. You've blessed us. You've blessed us. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Just to go over everything again, I would like to put it in order, my own order. I'll start from health.
Okay.
Everyone, you've been listening to us so far, take care of yourself. You don't want to land in the hospital and spend all the savings. Then number 2 is structure your spending. Don't spend too much. Don't buy unnecessary things. Then number 3 is bring forth your creative ability. You need that. This is time for you to learn how to cook. The man of God has said it. Watch YouTube or learn how to shave your own hair yourself. Just get something. Learn something.
For example, before I came here, I saw that one of us, because of the scarcity of sanitizers, I discovered that one of us, a student like you, now is making sanitizers.
And oh my God.
And you call yourself a medical student. Ordinary, you
and you did chemistry.
Why can't you mix this? You can't mix it.
Oh God.
Now this person has not only produced for his or herself, he's not producing for economic benefits. So the moment this says people are losing money, this person is making something
because you need it. At this point now, the essential commodity that you need now is mask and your sanitizer. So there's no way you won't need it. Wow. In fact, people are already working on their own creative ability. What do you have? Work on it. Then also, last but not the least, is contentment. You have to be contented with whatever you have. Economics, they said that human wants are insatiable. Well, I understood that statement came from the part that they did not understand that it is contentment that man has not mastered. That's why their wants are always there. Even things they don't need, they get them.
For example, with so many, like in FCS, we have a structure of meeting people's need. If you're in need, or reach out to this number. If you're in need of food, you're in need of this, whatever. Now you just imagine that somebody will put a call across to asking for a need, and the need is, I want juice.
Imagine. I'm
in need of juice. At this point,
juice is your highest priority. Not even water. Wow.
Then somebody will say, I need palm oil. And you know that these are things that getting palm oil here is unless you get it from African store. Yeah. So I don't know what you want to prepare with palm oil. You can use groundnut oil.
Yes, you can use groundnut oil. It's possible. I think another thing again now that we need to add to the list is learn how to be able to bend with the situation. I don't know.
In chemistry, it's called Le Chatelier's principle.
Okay, enlighten us on
yes, that. In chemistry, if you did secondary school chemistry, there's what Le Chatelier's principle. Okay. So when a chemical reaction takes place, and a factor, something tries to stop the reaction from giving out its product. Okay. It said the equilibrium will shift to annul the effect of that very factor in order to bring forth his product. So you become flexible.
Yes, that's the word.
You become flexible. It's not the time to you want to. You see, there are. Do you know that? There are very healthy food that you can prepare with little.
Very true.
Healthy and rich. But now you want to make it's funny, but you don't need to spend much to be satisfied.
Yes.
No, you don't need to spend much to be satisfied. And let me say this, especially for Ukraine, there's the possibility of the Ukrainian government extending this lockdown to around May 12th.
I think it's already in circulation. One way or the other, they've been saying that.
They've been saying it.
Yes.
There's a tendency. If they see that the spread of this coronavirus is still increasing, they might introduce some more stringent policies.
Like you can't even go out.
You can't even go out. Because in some of these countries, nobody goes out. But
now they still give room for you to go to the pharmacy, shop, and things like that. Yes.
In some of these countries, so it's necessary that we have to use your head now. You don't need to wait for Holy Ghost to come and tell you that you should have at least rice in your house.
And even ration it.
And yes.
Ration it. Yes. No, but because you have it in abundance, then you eat 4 times. This is time for you to start learning how to eat in the morning and in the evening.
When God provided for the children of Israel when they left Egypt for the promised land, He only gave them breakfast and dinner.
And dinner. Let's apply the wisdom of the Bible. Breakfast and dinner.
Now, if to reduce, for example, now, there are some of us that you can't do without pedicure and manicure. Those are your nails, especially the ladies. Now, where are those shops? Can you go for pedicure now? Can you go for manicure? No. To tell you that those are not essentials.
Very true. And this will also change people's mindset about how to live their life post-COVID. Yes.
For example, now I wanted to shave. I wanted to cut my hair. Now he's letting me know that shaving and cutting my hair is not among the top priority. When you go to Novus, you discover that there are some areas that they barricade. You don't go, even though the thing is there. You have the money to buy it. You are not allowed to buy it.
One of the commodities that they actually prevented people from getting what's this thing called? Makeup. Yeah.
Yes, they are letting you know that
they cover them. You can't touch them. Yes.
They are not important. Yes. So some of the things we give our attention to. This situation letting us know that they are not. Apostle Paul said, as far as he was telling Timothy, as far as you have food. You have clothes. And if you want to add it, you have shelter, you have somewhere you
are staying. Wow. Sir, you are from Africa. What do you want to give? What kind of advice do you want to give Africa as a whole? Like what they need to start doing now? Maybe 1 or 2 points. Do you think Africa should go into this or go into that, or generally just talk to, or even parents at home, because I think it will also help the parents to also sustain their wealth as well.
And now to African leaders, 2 French doctors some days back said that when they should get the vaccine, the coronavirus vaccine, and go to Africa to go and test it.
Wow, that's so barbaric. So they think we are
Africa is a dumb ground. Yeah. We are the mouse.
Yes, to use.
So as I speak with you now, in the whole of Africa, we don't have up to 50 deaths. Italy that till now people are dying.
They can't go there.
France, that while people are still dying, they don't want to test it there. That they are saying they should take it. And if African leaders should stand their ground. Because the moment the likes of people like Bill Gates, that is proposing that the vaccine should go to Africa.
Because he has a hold.
Because the moment they just talk to our leaders that they want to do this, then they will tell you, we'll give you this money, we'll give you this grant, we'll give you IMF grant.
Yeah.
Because one of the things, for example, that someone like Goodluck Jonathan, the former president of Nigeria, rejected. They wanted by force to introduce gay and lesbianism,
marriage,
gay marriage in Nigeria. And he said no. Even with all that they offered, he rejected it. So our leaders should reject this vaccine
and go back to their own laboratory.
That they should let them do it here. By the time it work with them, they can bring it here. So they don't make Africa a dump site. Don't make Africa a laboratory mouse. That's one. Okay. Then number two, this lockdown that everyone is introducing everywhere. Please, there is a virus called hunger that is worse than corona. Allow and encourage farmers to go to farm. Allow and encourage farmers to go to farm, because if we get into this hunger virus called famine, it will be worse than
like the days of the Bible where people are killing themselves.
It will be
killing their
too
kids.
Bad. So food is not about money. No, it's not about giving people money. Food should be available. People who can go to farm, they shouldn't be stopped. Don't restrict them from going to farm, because the virus is not in the farm.
Very true.
Let me say this. I was traveling from Kyiv to
which is here in Ukraine. For our international viewers. We are recording this from Ukraine. Yes.
Even with this lockdown in Ukraine, their farms, they are working. Tractors are working
in Ukraine.
They are producing. That's why you see that the shops that they are allowed to open are food shops, so that people can have food to eat. Yeah, for example, now, because in the West, their farming season starts immediately. Winter ends and they are getting into spring. Their farming starts. So farming season started March last month. They are farming, they are planting. Because if they do lockdown for agriculture, that means that it's finished. So farmers should be given incentives. They should give them every form of support to produce food. Then other thing they should do is that they should also have a price control policy and mechanism.
That's important. Very, very important.
So that people don't just take advantage. Like in Ukraine here now, even with this, prices are still stable. They are still stable.
Yeah.
But what we are seeing on the news, where a basket of gari or a basket of rice has shot up 100% and 200%.
That's greed.
Greed.
I think you should also encourage the people on that end. Those, I don't want to say they are greedy, but I think encourage them to let them understand that this is time for them to love people. Yes, I think you should also encourage them.
What shall he profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? Be your brother's keeper.
Yes.
Don't take advantage of this situation and make money. What if you make the money? If you die today, you won't go anywhere with the money. So add value to somebody's life. Sell that food at the normal price, and add smiles on people's faces.
Thank you.
God will bless you for that.
Thank you. Wow.
I want to add something.
Okay, sir.
This lockdown, there's so many students that are the only thing they know in the form of boredom.
Okay.
They now do a lot of
videos and everything.
Netflix.
Oh.
See, this is a time for you to learn new things.
Okay.
If you go on YouTube, go to the internet, so many things that you can. There are even online courses that you can do and get certification. So this one you just sit down and watch one movie, either Iroko or Netflix or whatever. You just sit down, watch one movie after the other, watch one movie after the other. What you are doing that you are reducing your creative ability. Spend time, listen to messages.
As a Christian, yes, you need to feed your spirit.
Feed your spirit. Don't engage in things that will not profit the plan of God for your life. Even as a student, this is the time that you need to even read the things that you have not prepared for the resumption. Prepare for your start read. You have access to materials. People that have gone ahead of you, you can ask them for materials. Engage yourself productively. Don't be lazy. And as you do that, and you engage yourself productively, you position yourself for the next phase that we're going to be entering. And the famine will not destroy you.
Amen.
God bless you.
Amen. Amen. I'll end up one more time again with this, saying that you've heard all these things, but you see, if you do not stand up to begin to do things or to begin to act on them, it will just be like information. So I'm encouraging you, our listener and our viewers today, please stand up and change the world by whatever you are doing today. God bless you. We celebrate our man of God, Reverend Ekiyor, for giving us this opportunity. See you again. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.